I am a fixer. I am a problem solver. I'm held to a higher standard all the time. I go to calls for service to fix problems for people, put a Band-Aid on some things that I can't fix, and just try to make a difference the best way I can.
I've always been a people person. Even when I was a little kid, my nickname on my softball team was Smiley. I've always been a person that is smiling or trying to be positive, and that's something that I try to bring to law enforcement, because sometimes our job is not so positive. We see some things that are horrible, and if I could bring a positive spin on something, or at least come in there with a positive attitude, not only within the officers within the agency, but also the citizens, I think, appreciate having somebody there that can sort of see a silver lining in some of the things. I've always wanted to be a police officer since I was a little girl. Just always found the uniform, the police cars, and just interacting with citizens to be fascinating.
I am a school resource officer on my days off sometimes, and I go and I see little girls all the time who, I want to be like you when I grow up. I want to be a police officer. So I think it's becoming more and more common that little girls are wanting to do it, more so than before.
Putting my uniform on for the first time gave me a sense of accomplishment and pride. I know it sounds sort of cheesy, but protecting and serving citizens and knowing that you go to work every day and you're truly making a difference in people's lives.
The best memory I have putting on this uniform was the night I went solo. The night that I wasn't in the field training program anymore. I had gotten, whether you can say, my wings, and I was set free to go out. I remember being in the back parking lot, and I was trying not to dance, but I was dancing. I had my keys. I had this little beat-up Lumina that barely wanted to start. It was missing buttons to turn on stuff in the car, but it was the proudest, best moment that I remember that I had made it.
The future of females, I think, is obviously endless. Some people say, oh, well, she just got promoted because she's, a female. But, I know that for myself personally and the life that I've lived, that it's because I'm a hard worker.
I set a goal on day one, and people who know me, who've known me 20 years, I said, I'm gonna be the police chief one day. I've told that to the past 4 chiefs that I want their job. I'm going for it. And every few years, I keep ticking away. I'm getting closer and closer, so I made it another step, and so I'm proud, very proud. Lots of hard work, I believe, to get here.
You hear a lot of things and people say, oh, the women are a lot tougher, and sometimes I think we are, and I think it's because you're trying to show people that you're just as capable, and I feel like we try to do more than the average person, and I think you have to do that because you're trying to make the other people realize that, yeah, we can do anything, we can be at the top, we can go in, we can arrest people, we can get to a scene and be in control. My friends tend to say you're a different person when you're in a uniform. I believe that because it sort of gives you not that superhero, but when you put that on, you're representing your agency, yourself, other women. So to be that strong, professional person it's pretty amazing.
I I was flagged down in reference to a man who had fallen. Turns out he was having a heart attack. I did CPR for like 14, 15, seemed like forever. He ended up dying at the hospital. It's a battle scar. I felt like I failed. It hurts. Those moments stay with you. Moments where you try and try and try. You go back to the same calls over and over and over, same homes. And it's like, am I making a difference? Those hurt. Those stay with you. As a sergeant, you go to every death scene and you have to tell folks their loved ones are gone. That hurts. Stays with you. So you pick it up and you go to your next call. That's what you do.
We go to different calls every day. No call is the same. And especially as a patrol supervisor, I go to a lot of critical incidents, whether it be shootings, stabbings, sexual assaults. You know, I have held people in my arms that have died. I go to scenes where, you know, I'll see traffic accidents where we have individuals that unfortunately pass away. You know, I've had to break news to, you know, mothers, fathers that their children have passed away. Again, I'm wearing that badge and I'm wearing that uniform and I'm representing my agency, so I have to be very professional in how I do things. To tell somebody the worst news probably they've ever heard in their life, it makes me sad, but I sort of have to hold that in and be a professional. You know, there's often times where I'll go in my car and I'll cry, and I can't cry on scene because, again, I don't want to seem like even like the female that's not strong.
The things you see, not everyone gets to see. I say this job is not for everyone. It is not, because it takes a toll sometimes. Like I said, the deaths, sometimes the unnecessary deaths that happen, you know, in our community, the things you see, how people hurt one another. It's hard. But then you'll go to something else and you feel like you've made a difference. So it's a balance of how you do it. Why do you do this job? I do this job. Danielle Davis does this job because I want to be the difference in somebody's life. I remember telling a single mom her only child was dead as a result of a car accident. And she fell into my arms and we cried together. And I just cried with her. And it's what you do. And after that call, I drove into the woods and I boo-hooed. And then they towed me out and I went to my next call.
Early in my career, I worked a sexual battery case. I was a patrol officer. You know, I had a year of experience and I was on the road and I worked a call of a sexual battery. I was able to arrest the suspect in the case. We got a not guilty verdict, which I knew that this individual was guilty, but it's part of the judicial system. He was found not guilty in court. It was actually just pretty recently I saw the survivor of that case, and I didn't initially recognize her, but she walked up to me and said, you know, Officer Mercurio, and she's like, I don't know if you remember me, but you worked my case, and it's been almost 18 years probably. She just said, I want to thank you for you know, getting me through that. I made such a positive impact with her with such a crappy scenario, the worst time in her life probably, but knowing that I helped her get through that, and now she's married, she has children, and I was part in like her healing of all that. So, you know, you have moments like that where it's like, okay, I made a difference in someone's life. within law enforcement, you have many different roles that you can do. Of course, you have the enforcement side where we're going to go out and we're going to patrol the streets, we're going to make arrests, we're going to put people in jail. Sometimes we have to use force. You have that aspect of it, but we also have the outreach where you're teaching community-based classes, you're going into the schools and really bridging the gap between some of these kids that are scared of police officers. So just the diversity, I think, too, in law enforcement is, to me, it's one of the best jobs you can do out there.